Hello, everybody. This is Daniel Kalenda. I'm here with Eric Gilmore, and I'm really excited about this taping today. We're going to be talking about some things that I know are going to be a great blessing to your life because they've been a blessing to my life. Let me just tell you a little bit about why we're doing what we're going to do today. You know, some Christians, it seems like they never want to be challenged in their faith. I'm not one of those people. I want to be challenged in my walk with Jesus. I don't just want to go to church and go to a service or to hear someone speak that makes me feel good about myself. I want someone who's going to challenge me to go deeper in Jesus. I want somebody who's going to challenge me to live my life for him more and is going to teach me how to tap into the deeper things of God. Yes. And I think as believers, that should always be our desire, to grow, to learn, to go deeper in the things of God. And you know, one of the areas that I think many believers struggle with is the area of that personal relationship with Jesus. Of course, we all go to church, we all go to worship services, but sometimes those things become substitutes for our own personal relationship with God. Yes. And people always ask me these questions about intimacy with the Lord, about prayer, about experiencing the presence of God. And I put on my Facebook, this is a few months ago now, I put on there a post that said, if you have any questions about prayer, about your devotional life, the inner life, post those questions and I want to answer them. And it was one of the most interacted with posts that I'd ever put up. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of questions came flooding in, and I could see that this is obviously a question that's really profound on the hearts of believers. And so I sat down with a couple very close friends of mine, Eric being one of them, and we decided to put together a book that would help people to be able to dive deeper into their inner walk with the Lord. Mm-hmm. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring Eric into the studio today, onto the set, and to ask him some of these questions in front of you. And let me tell you why. Eric Gilmore has been a friend of mine for a long time. We went to college together. Mm-hmm. And what has it been? 10 years at least, maybe?
At least in 99. So.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. And I have seen how God has worked in his life and worked in his spirit, and I've watched an evolution taking place in him over the years. And one of the things that's very unique about Eric, you know, some preachers, they have to preach on a different subject every week. And so one week they're talking about pride, and then the next week they're teaching about how to raise a good family, and they have to jump around, and it's kind of like how a stone skips across the water, just hitting sort of the most shallow layer of the water as it goes. Eric, the Lord has given him a very special gift, and the Lord works in him in a very special way. The Lord gives him revelation that goes very, very, very deep, and it consumes him. And I've seen that happen with a couple of different things, actually several different phases in his life. But it seems now, as I've watched him over the last several years, that he has come to the message of his life. He's come to the purpose of his life. And it is in prayer, it is in intimacy, it is in practicing the presence of the Lord. And whenever I hear him speak on this subject, and whenever we talk about it as friends, I personally just feel so edified and lifted up. Remember, Eric, we were together in, where was it, Ireland?
Ireland, yeah.
It's got to be a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were just traveling together. We were on a missions trip. And I still remember that week as one of the most rich times of prayer in my whole life. And it happened to be the week that I was with Eric. I don't think that's a coincidence because this man lives in the presence of God. He practices it on a daily basis. It is the priority in his life, and the Lord has given him real revelation on it. Whenever I ask him a question about the presence and about inner life, he always comes back with a very profound answer that is a challenge to me. And I've said to myself time and time again, the body of Christ needs to hear this. So that's why we're doing this today. I have a list of questions. Some of these are mine. Some of them are yours. Some of them came in through Facebook or through other channels. And some of them are my own questions that I know that you would like to have asked. And so we're going to go through these questions in sort of rapid fire sequence. And I pray that the Lord would really speak to you today about this. So Eric, thank you again for joining me on the program. And let me ask you, just to start off, how did you come to this? And how did you end up choosing this and focusing in on this as the theme of your life?
Well, I began to realize that the consistency and strength in my life came from a certain source. And as I looked throughout my life to find out what that animation was, that spiritual energy that I was receiving, empowerment, if you will, it was coming from the time that I had spent in His presence. It had to do with a rich enhancement of everything that God has given us through His presence. And so that's where I began to just really hone in and focus on this experience of the person of Jesus Christ, and began to see that as I talked about these things, the same thing was happening to other people. And really what it all comes down to is that he who has the Son has life. He who has not the Son has not life. And so as we have the Son in our lives, as the life of our life, everything changes. We begin to experience this gospel. We begin to experience this reconciliation, which is the restoration of God and man finding their pleasure in one another. And I found that all the striving and the clenching and the twisting and manipulating and pushing and trying was destroyed by the power of rest in His presence.